Welcome back to another MOF class. Today we'll be working on hips as well as spine to get a banger mobility session in. Let's get started without any further ado. But before that, don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. We're going to get one leg out, coming into a perpendicular angle at the knee, inhaling and pushing the hip down. As the right leg is forward, you can see that the knee is going way beyond the toe, really stretching out the shin, the hamstrings, the hips, the knees, as well as the ankles. Keep your upper body upright so as to make sure that you're getting the right kind of traction you need to get this stretch. From where you can just press your hands into the floor, and we're going to move into a little shin stretch where we're lifting the foot off the floor, placing only the heel on the floor, making sure that our knee as well as the ankle is stretching as far as possible. Repeating the same movement on the other side. To get a better view, we're going to hold our tailbone in, make sure that we are engaging our core, pushing the knee as forward as possible, gripping the entire floor with the foot and making sure that our hips are squared, which means that both the hips are parallel to one another, not twisting to the outside. You're keeping the upper body as upright as possible to stretch the quads and the hamstrings out, and then you're slowly lifting the toe off the floor to make sure that you're stretching the ankles out as well. Moving on to the next one, which is a combination of the gate pose extension as well as the high side plank stretch. The key in this one is to make sure that our shoulders are not rolling forward, rather stretching out upwards and to the sides in both directions. We're starting off with the gate posture, sliding the right hand down onto the right leg, which means getting a complete lateral bend in our spine. And then moving on to the other side, going into a half side plank, which is a supported side plank by the left knee, and giving ourselves a little more extension. Repeating the movement 3 times on each side. As you can see, my shoulders are down, but my spine is as far stretched out towards the ceiling as possible. From where we gently bend the right leg and come into a half side lunge pulse. What you're doing is coming into a lunge-like position on the side while your left knee stays bent, really pushing sideways, taking your knees and ankles to a deep stretch. Repeating the same thing on the other side right from the beginning using the gate posture. Inhale, take it all the way to the left side. Exhale, inhale again into your half side plank hold. The key to these movements is an extended lateral side bend, which means that your spine needs to be pulling upwards as you bend to the side without rotating your shoulders or bending your upper elbow. You're extending with the sides or the love handles as much as you can. Taking it back into a half side lunge pulse where you're really pushing through the abductors and getting a deep stretch in while your hips are facing forward, different from the front lunge that we did. Taking it to the next one, but before that, let's take a small breather in our child's pose, slowly bringing our chest up into a tabletop position. Extending the right leg all the way out to come into a half split position and slowly sliding it all the way to the right side to stretch the abductors and the adductors out, going into a side split like movement but only with half a side, which means the left leg will stay bent while we're working the right side, and then come back, do an abduction lift with the right leg, making sure that the weight is in the center and the weight is not tilting to just any one side. As you expand, make sure you're really using your abductors to lift. Taking it to the other side, as you can see, you slide down to stretch the abductors and the adductors, abductors of the left and adductors of the right, sliding the leg as far out as possible to make sure you're getting a deep stretch in on your inner thighs and hips. Taking it into an abduction, the knee is to be taken up to the ceiling rather than the foot. Make sure you're really squeezing your glutes as you lift up and try not to let your weight tilt on one side. Come into a child's pose, take a second's breather before we move on to the next movement, which is our Cobra and locust posture. From the tabletop position, just drop your hips down as your shoulders are decompressing into the floor, chest upright, and then squeeze your bum to lift the legs up into a locust. As you can see, Your buttocks are squeezed, knees are straight, toes are pointed in your locust, and the same way you're just going to come and rock like a boat in your Cobra. Make sure you continue to breathe and keep tension throughout the body to utilize every single part of your spine, glutes, as well as your back. Taking it to the next movement, we're coming into a butterfly posture where we're going to be doing chest expansions and contractions along with hip abductions. As you exhale, pull your chest in, knees up. Inhale, push your chest out, knees down. Your hips and your heels do not change position at any point in time. For the next one, we just extend one leg out as we fold the left leg and pull our chest forward and go into a wide-legged forward bend with one side bent. Deep inhales and exhales out of your nostril to make sure you're getting as good a stretch as you can in your hips. Taking another view of the same posture, we're going to be extending one leg out, in this case my left leg now, and my right foot comes into the groin. I'm going to go lean forward, really pushing fire out of my left heel, making sure it's completely engaged as I dig deep into the floor with my exhales. Slowly come back up, relax your legs for a second, and then let's go into a wide-legged seated position with our knees bent to begin with. As you can see, I'm trying to keep my spine as upright as possible, and with every exhale, I slowly straighten the legs out as I take my chest forward to come into a fold. It's okay if your hands are not at your feet, but do not round your back. Inhale to expand the chest, open your legs out, squeeze your buttocks and push your chest forward as much as you can. Pull the legs in, taking it into our seated abduction with spinal rotation. Place your left heel under the right hip and the right heel under the left hip, making sure that both your knees are aligned with each other. Place your right hand behind the head and take your elbow all the way to the right as your left elbow is used to push the right knee back. Taking it to the other side, we're switching the knees up. Again, make sure that your knees are aligning with one another as you push the left knee using your right elbow and take your left elbow all the way to the back, giving yourself as deep a rotation as possible. And that's it.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. MOF 8-week shredder program with meal plans, training regimes and accountability is on for a 15% discount. You can read more about it in my description or my website. And MOF group yoga classes are on Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 8 a.m. IST. You can sign up for it on my website as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe.